You know what? It's really interesting. I wasn't even going to go in the direction for this podcast that I'm doing right now. I was simply just going to preview the Philadelphia Eagles game this coming Sunday against the Philadelphia Eagles at the Link at Philadelphia. And I was just going to simply talk about that and the things that this Minnesota Vikings could do to turn their season around. In my opinion, this is a must-win game for the Minnesota Vikings. It really, really is. You're in a National Football Conference that is absolutely loaded, and I get the Eagles, they're 2-2. They're trying to get this win too, but you have no room for error in this NFC conference. And then the division, the NFC North division is concerned. Don't look now, but the Chicago Bears, they're 3-1 right now. They're sitting pretty good. And I know we're only 4 games in, but this defense needs to get their swag back. They really, really do. They need to get their confidence back to maybe salvage the rest of the season and still hopefully make the playoffs. I was just going to simply talk about that. But then something else came up. So I had a Twitter follower. I don't have it in front of me because he deleted the tweet. I wish you kept it up there. But anyway, I had a Twitter follower ask me, he tweeted at me, said, "Hey, Randy, just want to know your opinion on this." And I'm paraphrasing here, but if the defense continues to look like crap, and if Mike Zimmer can't turn this thing around, should Mike Zimmer be on the hot seat? And I talked about this the last podcast. Yeah, he should be. And when I say hot seat, let me make sure that I'm clear about something, because everybody just came at me with some pitchforks and ready to just burn down Minneapolis to the ground for this tweet. But what I mean when I say should he be on the hot seat, am I saying he should be on the hot seat right now? No. As far as the rest of this season is concerned, if your defense still looks crap, because we're talking about going back into the playoffs last year, your defense has been abysmal. You've been getting out-coached by everybody except Kyle Shanahan in the San Francisco 49ers. But ever since then, besides that, you've looked like garbage as a head. You're not even a head coach. You're a glorified defensive coordinator. Let's be real. You've completely ignored the offense to say the defense, this is my thing. And the one thing that's your bread and butter, the one thing that you're supposed to be a guru at, you're terrible at it right now. Let's just call it what it is. But I said, as far as if you can't turn it around for the rest of the season, he should be on the hot seat. He absolutely should be. And when I say hot seat, I mean going into 2019, you better turn it around. Otherwise, your job is at stake. And I said I wouldn't be surprised if the Vikings did fire him if, let's say, the season goes to hell, you don't make the playoffs. I wouldn't fire Mike Zimmer right now. This season, I wouldn't do it. But going into next year, assuming the defense stays the same, he should be on the hot seat. And that's what I mean by that. And as soon as I said that, oh, everyone came after me. What are you talking about? Look what he did. He's turned this franchise around. And you're right. He has. Leslie Frazier was a disaster as a head coach, and Mike Zimmer definitely changed his franchise around. But last time that I checked, for everybody that's new to this concept, the NFL is a what have you done for me lately league. And lately, going back into the playoffs, your defense has been trash. Y'all want to sit here, and I don't know if it's Minnesota nice or we're sitting here trying to give lifetime achievement awards to Mike Zimmer. We trying to build a statue for this dude right now. He has turned this franchise around, but this defense has been garbage. The only saving grace for this team throughout the playoffs last year and going into this season through these first 4 games has been the offense, and that's terrible, in which case you have nothing to do with. Why? Because you're like, hey, offensive coordinator, you deal with it. I'm going to take care of this defense, and you haven't done so. Let's talk about Mike Zimmer and this defense. Your playoff history as a head coach, you've coached in 3 playoff games, okay? One of them, you know what? I'm not even going to count the Seattle game. You should have won that game. Blair Walsh screwed it up. I'm not even going to take that away from you. No sweat off my back. But the last 2 games, you're what? 1-2 in the playoffs. The Seattle Seahawks game doesn't count. The Saints game, the only reason you won that game was because of Minneapolis Miracle performed by the offense. You held the Saints scoreless, 17-0 to end the first half, and then you gave up points after points after points to the fact where you want to talk about Mike Zimmer, he's all this and all big and bad, and what are you talking about? Mike Zimmer is fine. One Twitter follower literally said to me, Mike Zimmer, this team could go 5-11 this year, and Zim would be fine. Are we being for real right now? Let's talk about that defense for a second. After Kai Forbath in the 4th quarter, after Kai Forbath made a 53-yard field goal to go up, 23-21, the Minnesota Vikings went on defense against Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints, okay? 4th and 10 with 45 seconds left to go. They're at the Minnesota 46-yard line. 4th and 10, and you're supposed to be a defensive guru. You give up a 13-yard completion to Willie Snead. Okay, you could have ended the game right now. You could have ended the game right there. But 4th and 10, 45 seconds left, and on the Minnesota 46, and you give up a 4th down conversion for a 1st down, ultimately leading to who was the kicker at the time? The kicker at the time was it Will Lutz? Will Lutz made a 43-yard field goal with 25 seconds left. And the only reason you won that game was of a freak accident and just a miracle play by Case Keenum and Stephon Diggs, which last time I checked, they're on the offensive side of the ball. Mike Zimmer had nothing to do with that. In fact, they won that game in spite of Mike Zimmer. And then let's go to the NFC Championship game. People say, oh, well, Drew Brees and the Saints, and they've got Sean Payton, and that's okay. You know, they're going to be Hall of Fame quarterbacks and a head coach, Hall of Fame head coach. You know what? They're great. They're masterful on offense. Okay, fine. Nick Foles, what's your damn excuse? Nick Foles, you let Nick Foles look like Steve Young or whatever the hell else quarterback that you could think of that's a first ballot Hall of Famer. You let Nick Foles go out there and kick your ass around on defense. Your defense was nowhere to be found. Then we go into this regular season. You know what's funny? Let's talk about this defense some more since we're going to build a statue for Mike Zimmer. This dude can do no wrong, right? Josh Allen, right now, in his 3 games as a starter. Okay, so we're 4 games into the season. We're a quarter of the way through the regular season. His 3 games as a starter, he's completed 53.5% of his passes. That game against the Minnesota Vikings at US Bank Stadium, you let Josh Allen complete 68% of his passes. Everybody is out coaching Mike Zimmer. Every offense is kicking Mike Zimmer's ass. And the only reason, you know, it's funny, that Rams game, and we can talk about Sean McVay, Doug Peterson. I don't even know who the head coach is for the Buffalo Bills, but everybody's looking good against you. But the only reason that we were in that Rams game, the only reason we didn't even lose against the Green Bay Packers is because of our quarterback. Again, on the offensive side of the ball. This offense is saving this team as a whole from being much worse than what it actually could be because, again, this defense, they gave up 38 points, just like they did against the Philadelphia Eagles. They gave up 38 points against the Los Angeles Rams, but, the offense, they put up 31 points, and we have a chance to still win this game. Mike Zimmer has been getting badly outcoached since the playoffs going into the second half of the Saints game last year. And we're sitting here acting like this is a hot take saying if you can't turn it around, this is year 1 of the Kirk Cousins project where you're talking about a Super Bowl window that you have. Your goal is to win the Super Bowl right now. And again, you're ignoring the offense. This is supposed to be your baby, and it's looking like garbage right now. Mike Zimmer should absolutely be on the hot seat if, because y'all dudes don't want to listen. Y'all just want to take what I say and twist my words around and Mike Zimmer should be fired after the first 4 games. When the hell have I ever said that? Ever. This is a what have you done for me lately league. Oh, look what he's done in the past. The Lakers, they signed Kobe Bryant to a 2-year, $48.5 million contract at what age? They signed, I don't even have it in front of me. They signed him to a 2-year, $48.5 million contract to end his career after he was starting to get up there in age. And it's like, all right, he's starting to get a little bit old. And what happened? It messed up, it jacked up their free agency period and their opportunities to bring in players. Dwight Howard left. LaMarcus Aldridge, he got hosted for a free agency meeting. He didn't want to go there. He ended up going to the San Antonio Spurs. Nobody wanted to go to the Lakers. Now LeBron's there. We'll have to see how that works out. But this whole idea that we're supposed to reward folks off of what they've done in the past is absolutely ridiculous. So now we get to this Philadelphia Eagles game, and it's funny because my family and friends, they're from the Philadelphia Eagles. They're from the Philadelphia area. My in-laws, my friends out there, a couple of them, they're going to be at the game. And they're going to rub it into me. They're going to just text me and be like, hey, what's up with your team? And it's all well and good. They're one of the good Eagles fans out there, okay? So let's not get it twisted with that. But what I'm going to say is, as far as if you're going to turn this season around, I do think that Kirk Cousins and this offense has a chance to win this game. I do. I'm not going to predict it. I'm not going to predict this game because you know what? Ever since you lost to the Bills, all bets are off because this defense can't control anybody. But what I will say as far as the reason why I do have a little bit of optimism going into this game, Kirk Cousins in his career, 7 games against the Philadelphia Eagles, 4-3 record, averaging just over 300 yards passing per game, total of 16 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Now, last season, he had his worst supporting cast. He went 0-2 through a combined total of 543 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 2 picks. Okay, that's the only reason why I believe that we're going to have a chance to win that game going against the Philadelphia Eagles at the link. As far as what you can do to change this season around and maybe ensure a victory against the Philadelphia Eagles and salvage this season, I've got a couple of things. Number one, on offense, two things. Your wide receiver 3 spot should be Aldrick Robinson. Laquan Treadwell, his time is up. Aldrick Robinson is faster than Laquan Treadwell, and he can catch better than Laquan Treadwell. There's nothing else to talk about. That's your wide receiver 3. Number 2, on offense, the offensive line. You know what's really interesting? Let me bring this up real quick. Kevin Ringrose of Pro Football Focus, he tweeted out, through the first 8 weeks of 2017, Vikings right tackle Mike Remmers had a grade of 77.1, 12th among offensive tackles, and hadn't given up a sack. Since returning from injury, he's graded under 60 in 5 of his 7 starts at right guard. Not only is offensive tackle the more valuable position, Remmers is better there. Really? Who could have ever seen this coming, Rick Spielman? Who could have ever seen this coming? Really? He's been terrible at right guard. So here's your solution. I'm not going to complain about it anymore. You got to listen to me. I've been saying this forever. I said this before the season. Leave him at right tackle. But if you want to turn this thing around, like I said, Aldrick Robinson, he's your wide receiver 3. The offensive line, the left side is fine. I'm good with it. Tom Compton, he's proved me wrong. He's been very, very okay as a left guard. Riley Reef, big ups to him for having a bounce-back performance against the L.A. Rams after bleeping the bed against the Buffalo Bills. And obviously, Pat Elflein, he's our franchise center. The right side is the issue. Rashad Hill is not a starting right tackle in the NFL. Your right guard should be. You traded for Brett Jones. Why is Brett Jones on the bench? Brett Jones is a much better guard than Mike Remmers, and Mike Remmers is a much better right tackle than Rashad Hill. That's all you got to do, baby. Brett Jones is your right guard. Mike Remmers is your right tackle. Rashad Hill, Brian O'Neill, they can back up. Problem solved. That's on offense. On defense, George Edwards should be calling plays at this point. Or Mike Zimmer needs to figure it out as far as schematically what he can do to turn this defense around. Number 2, Harrison Smith. We like to get cute with this dude as far as bringing him up to the line of scrimmage and letting him play in the box like a linebacker. That needs to stop. The reason for that is because if you've noticed, whether it's the Buffalo Bills game, the Eagles game, whoever the hell else it is, these teams, these opposing offenses are not afraid to go deep on us. They're not afraid to go after the big plays against us. And what happens is we're too busy setting this dude up, Harrison Smith, having him go up to the line of scrimmage or playing in the box. We're letting Andrew Sandejo sit out there like a lame duck as a single high safety. And what happens is if they're going after deep plays, that means you're forcing Andrew Sandejo to have to pick and choose where he's going to go. And if he makes the wrong mistake, then all of a sudden it's curtains because our cornerbacks can't cover. We've seen that already. Harrison Smith is a fantastic free safety. He's an amazing center fielder. You need to have both Andrew Sandejo and Harrison Smith out there until further notice. That way, once you can eliminate the deep plays, then you can start to get cute as far as mixing it up with Harrison Smith. But right now, he needs to play free safety, and that's it. Just play the deep center field, and we'll be good. And number 3, and I'm going to give credit to SK of the Skull Report, of Skull Weekly. We do a podcast, Skull Weekly, but SK from the Skull Report, he said Anthony Barr should line up on defensive end on left end opposite of Danielle Hunter because obviously he was replacing Everson Griffin. Anthony Barr should play left end, replacing Danielle Hunter's old spot on the left side. And then that way what happens is you take him out of the possibility of possibly getting switched up on a running back or a wide receiver because he can't cover whatsoever. So now that you've seen that in the Rams game, he cannot be, and not even just the passing game. In running plays, he's not making plays. The one thing that he could still possibly be good at is rushing the passer. And then that way you're eliminating him from having to make plays in the run game or in the passing game. And then what will you do after that? Play Eric Wilson. Eric Wilson right now, I firmly believe, can run sideline to sideline much better than Anthony Barr right now. And so that's my thing. If you're going to turn this season around, it's going to start with this Philly game. You need to get your swag back. This Philadelphia Eagles game, that NFC Championship game, that was the start of this Vikings defense looking like some punks. Now, if you can only imagine, when they go at the link, I know the Eagles, they're coming off a tough loss in overtime against the Tennessee Titans. They look at the Minnesota Vikings like a bunch of chumps. And if y'all not going to sit there and be ready for that and match that intensity, then you're just going to get pushed around around like you did in the NFC Championship game. Can we still win this game because of Kirk Cousins? Yes, we can. But that's not going to be enough if you're trying to win the Super Bowl. I do believe this team has a chance to turn things around. I do believe that Mike Zimmer can possibly turn things around, but you have to perform. The fact that we're sitting here acting like this dude should get a lifetime contract just because, his defense looks like Leslie Frazier's defense when he was a head coach here. Come on, man. It's about what have you done for me lately, and this defense has been trash. That's not even hot take. That's just straight facts. Anyway, we do this once a week. Mediocre at Best Sports Podcast with Realistic Randy. You can follow me on Facebook at Realistic Randy or on YouTube at Realistic_Randy. We'll see you next week, baby.
This is T1.